We are live from Haywood's on the Green in Mill Hall, and a warm welcome this week on the LHU Coaches Show. I'm Jonathan Schwab. We will be with you for the next half an hour, bringing you interviews with Lock Haven University coaches and recapping the week that was. If you're with us at Haywood's on the Green on this Tuesday evening, thank you so much for coming out. If you're listening on the Bear Country Sports Network, we are less than an hour away from Lock Haven University football as the Bald Eagles host Millersville. It is homecoming weekend in Clinton County. Great to be joined right now to start the show by Lock Haven University head football coach David Taynor. Coach, welcome back.
Awesome to be here.
Your team coming off a 51-12 whitewashing of Cheney on Saturday. And one of the major storylines in the win over Cheney, your team's ability to run the football, your best rushing game of the year. How were you able to open things up in the run game a little bit?
Well, I think we put a concerted effort into getting ourselves prepared, and we knew we were going to play in a game in which Team 6 was going to have, it's Cheney. We don't like to use the names of the teams, but they always played with one extra guy in the box, but we put a big emphasis on our zone read and inside run read game. And it was something that we wanted to make sure that we could establish and run behind our pads a little bit and get an opportunity for our three tailbacks to step up and be successful in the game. And Malik Harris, I think, had 10 carries for 86 yards. John Ford had, I think, 8 for 50, and then Ralph Highland had 7 for 47 and 2 touchdowns. So they split the load a little bit, and also Caleb Walton got into the action, ran for 50 yards and a couple touchdowns himself.
You mentioned Ralph Highland, his first 2 career rushing touchdowns. How would you assess his development as a true freshman running back?
Well, I think he's doing a phenomenal job. In reality, he was both Malik and John Ford had good carries very early in the game, but they didn't necessarily keep it tight and downhill on their first couple carries. They made some things happen, but didn't hit it straight downhill. When Ralph got his first full series, he ran 2 inside runs that we had and hit off the inside of the pooler and kept it downhill. And then after that point, the other 2 guys stepped their game up and continued to do that also. So, he was a little bit of a catalyst to getting our run game going.
You were able to take the 2-score lead early on the 2 Caleb Walton touchdown runs. Having the 2-score lead, how did that impact the game?
Well, I don't know if it necessarily had a huge impact in what we were going to do or what our plan was. Just cemented that's what our initial plan. We were going to continue to do that and run behind our pads and continue to finish the game in the way that we started.
Defensively, last week, the Shippensburg game, the defense did a lot to like. You come out against Cheney, you hold Cheney scoreless in the first half. What were you able to do defensively to limit them in half number 1?
Well, I think we continued to build from the previous game on staying multiple in our approach and continue to have hats run into the football. Cheney did a very good job and has done a good job of running the football up until and throughout the season. I think their offensive line does a good job as far as matching up with people and blocking tenaciously from snap to whistle. So I think our guys did a great job of pursuing to the football. One of the most difficult things in football to do is to make an open field tackle. So when you're in the open field, if you got 5 or 6 or the other 10 guys with you, it makes it a lot easier to make those tackles.
How do you teach that aspect of the game, the individual tackling to these guys?
Well, we in every single practice we have at least 1, if not 2 different tackling circuits that are involved with it. We also have pursuit drills that are built in, because, like I said, it's getting multiple hats to the football in order to make sure that you're not an individual trying to make a tackle that often. So those are built into practice. Was also, I think we did a good job of getting to and punching the ball out. We forced I believe 3 fumbles in the game. We also picked the ball off. We recovered 1 of those fumbles. The other 2 we didn't. But we were getting to the ball and getting extra. The second guy in was ripping and pulling the ball all day and trying to create the opportunity to force takeaways.
When you bring the young guys in and you have so many freshmen on the roster this year, how much of getting them to do things right is tearing them down to a blank slate and undoing bad habits before you build up the good habits?
Well, one of the things is, you have to start we started very early in camp as far as building a foundation of what the culture and the program is, and watching those guys develop and grow throughout the season has been, something that you kind of admire, seeing them make progress. And at one point in time, there's a 53-yard catch by Kaif Williams at receiver, and as he finishes the play, there's 3 other guys that are there celebrating with him as he finishes the play, and all 3 of them are true freshmen, or our freshmen that get there. So you see that youthful exuberance in the group. And Kasim Bowie was a redshirt freshman for us, had a good game. Had 6 catches, 97 yards. But the most impressive thing that he did was every time we had a big play on the field, he was the first guy there celebrating with his teammates. So he's a great catalyst for developing a positive energy. And camp is a new thing for freshmen coming in. They get mentally and physically ground down a little bit, so to see them start to respond and go out and play with excitement and energy is something that's we're really happy with, and we want to continue to build upon.
Joined by Lock Haven University head football coach David Taynor on the LHU Coaches Show from Haywood's on the Green in Mill Hall. When we return, we'll talk more about the win over Cheney and take a look ahead to the matchup with Millersville. You're listening and taking in the Lock Haven University Coaches Show, presented by the Bear Country Sports Network. Welcome back to Haywood's on the Green in Mill Hall. If it's Tuesday night inside Haywood's, we're glad you are here. We're here every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. until 7:30. If you're listening on the Bear Country Sports Network, you are 45 minutes away from Lock Haven University football as the Bald Eagles play host to Millersville at his homecoming 2016. Jonathan Schwab with LHU head football coach David Taynor. And Coach, we talked about the defense's effort in the first half. Overall for the game, your defense held Cheney to 4 of 14 on third down. What sparked the improvement in your third down defense?
It's been a huge focus for us over the past 2 weeks. Something in the Westchester game, we felt like we didn't perform as well on third down as what we needed to. So it's been a big focus going into the last 2 weeks, and I think we've continued to do that. I mean, we've always focused on it in practice, and we always have different third down segments, but we put some more multiple looks into what we were doing and specialized some packages to try to get ourselves off the field in those third downs. And I think we did a good job of being sound in coverage. Created some pressure to disrupt the quarterback. I don't think we didn't get to the quarterback a whole lot, but Cheney's also a team that runs a lot of 3-steps, so the ball's out of the hand of the quarterback pretty quickly. But we put him under duress and made him make some decisions and get the ball out before routes had really developed. So I was happy with seeing the continued progress. It's something we got to continue to focus upon.
What does getting the first win out of the way do for the players?
Well, I mean, it puts us in a situation where you have some validation for what you've worked on doing. So, I mean, it's, we went out and not only won the game, but we played a good football game. We protected the football, didn't turn the ball over, didn't put it on the surface. We won in the special teams component of the game. We improved in our third down defense and won the game physically at the line of scrimmage. So doing all of those things, continue to validate some things, and also, bring some positive energy into the preparation for the following week.
And the following week will be the Marauders of Millersville, or to acknowledge how I know you will refer to them, Team 7. How would you, in brief, describe Millersville?
Well, I think they're one of the more multiple back-end coverage teams that we've played against. So it's going to be important that our quarterback does a good job of recognizing his keys and indicators against them. They're very balanced in their fronts from a defensive standpoint. I mean, they're going to give you 3 techniques on strong and weak sides of the formations. They're a 4-man front team, but they're multiple. A lot of teams have a heavy incidence of one or the other. It's going to be a preparation process for the week. I think offensively they have number one for them, wide receiver. I think is a dynamic player, so it's something we have to be ready for because he's a guy they're going to target quite a bit. Their run game, their tailback, I think, is a solid runner, runs behind his pads well, so need to get multiple hats to the football. We got to create some pressure, and we got to change the game a little bit, depending upon who their starting quarterback is. Their backup played last week because their starter was out with injury. We don't know for sure if that's going to be the case this week or not, but irregardless, we got to create some pressure on the quarterback.
Our One for Fun with David Taynor. Now, in professional settings, most individuals, you have suits, different suits. What is your favorite suit?
Well, I have a gray suit that's the actual one that I have tailor fit, because one of the things about being a bigger guy, I wear a 60 and a jacket, so it tends to be if you get a stock suit, the pants are also designed to be worn by someone who wears a 60 jacket, so they look like balloon pants. So I have a very I have a very tailored suit that can fit on the lower area as well as it does on the top too. So that's my kind of go-to when it's a special situation.
So avoid the balloon pants.
Yeah, avoid the ones that you can fly away in.
Lock Haven University head football coach David Taynor. Again, 2 p.m. Saturday, hosting Millersville. Thank you for the time, and good luck against Millersville.
All right, well, thank you very much. Looking forward to it.
When we come back on the LHU Coaches Show from Haywood's on the Green in Mill Hall, we will be joined by Lock Haven University head field hockey coach Pat Rudy. This is the Lock Haven University Coaches Show, presented by the Bear Country Sports Network.
Food and fun with friends and family when you go to Haywood's on the Green in Mill Hall. With a large bar and their big screen TVs, Haywood's is where you go to catch the game with your buddies. Their spacious dining room and kids menu make them a family favorite too. Ask Haywood's about their special banquet menu for events in a ballroom capable of hosting parties up to 200 people. Call 570-748-8402 for reservations and check them out at haywoodsotg.com and on Facebook and Instagram. Haywood's. When the seasons change, Ex-Agway in Jersey Shore is ready. Buy wood pellets and canning supplies at Ex-Agway with a complete line of Mrs. Wages mixes along with food plot supplies for hunting season. Ex-Agway open 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, 8 to noon Saturday. Look for their sign on Allegheny Street in Jersey Shore directing you down the hill to their 112 Harris Street location. Ex-Agway, local people taking care of local people. 570-398-2770. Ex-Agway in Jersey Shore. Dr. Jason Madigan at Sport and Spine Chiropractic Rehab, not just a chiropractor, but also a nationally certified strength and conditioning specialist. Sport and Spine Chiropractic Rehab, providing comprehensive evaluations and programs for musculoskeletal injuries, including post-surgical rehab, injury prevention programs, and strength and conditioning programs. 570-858-5645, or visit their Facebook page today for more information. Optimize your health and performance. 8 North Grove Street, Lock Haven. At Hiller's Fuel Oil, they don't hate the cold, they heat the cold. Hiller's believes there's no inconvenient time or location to deliver fuel. Hiller's providing on and off-road diesel, gasoline, grease, and motor oil skid tanks and loading racks for self-pickup. Locally owned for over 60 years, Hiller's makes first-time customers lifetime customers. 570-865-4879. Or look for the Exxon sign, Cemetery Street, Jersey Shore. Hiller's Fuel Oil, they don't hate the cold, they heat the cold. Hiller's Fuel Oil in Jersey Shore. Shift into savings at Dotterer Equipment, your local Kubota dealer. Right now, get the Subcompact BX, the Compact B or L Series, or the bigger MX Special Utility Tractor with a low down payment and 0% APR for 84 months. That's 7 years. And get a full 6-year limited powertrain warranty. See Dotterer today. They're your local Kubota dealer. See them, Route 64 in Mill Hall, Route 75 Honey Grove. Dotterer Equipment, they're the hometown guys. Gerhard Her Insurance has one question for you. How long have you had your insurance with one agency? Are you aware the insurance industry is changing all the time? Many recommend you review the cost of your policies and what that price covers every 3 years. So the smart thing to do is to call Gerhard Her Insurance in Lock Haven, 570-748-8011. With a 49-year track record of serving Bear Country, they can take care of all of your business and personal insurance needs. Gerhard Her Insurance, 570-748-8011.
Bear Country 99.9.
Welcome back to the LHU Coaches Show at Haywood's on the Green in Mill Hall on this Tuesday night. If you're with us at Haywood's, Jonathan Schwab, and soon to be joined by Lock Haven University head field hockey coach Pat Rudy. If you're listening on Saturday, it is preceding the pregame. Lock Haven University football homecoming hosting Millersville. And now, you've waited long enough, and you now get Lock Haven University head field hockey coach Pat Rudy. Coach, great to have you on the show again.
Thank you, Schwabi. Great to be here.
Your team, and certainly you an extension of that, ought to be in great spirits. 3 consecutive wins, You talked to me the last time you were on the show about we need to find a way to score more goals. Last 3 games, 13 goals combined in those 3 victories. And for those of you not watching on the video, when I said that, you gave a little right-handed fist pump. It was very aggressive, very purposeful. How have you been able to generate more goals?
Well, we've been working on our corners. Penalty corner is a great scoring opportunity. And if you're going to be a successful field hockey team, you have to execute your corners, and you've got to be able to score off your corners. It's the bread and butter of the game. So we've made some changes. We changed Colleen McCabe is now the inserter on the penalty corners, and she's doing a great job. She has a little more speed than Lydia. We moved Lydia to a different spot. Tamia Roach is now our penalty corner striker, our main hitter on the penalty corner, and she's been consistent, and she's got a wicked shot. And we put some more options in there. So the fact that Colleen can get the ball out faster gives Tamia more time to get the shot off. And Tamia scored 2 goals in the Appalachian game. She scored several in St. Louis. And we're getting the shot. As long as you get your shot off on the penalty corner, you're doing your job. But if you can't get a shot off on that's a sign that you're not going to do well as a field hockey team. So we've made some adjustments there, and it's paying off. Alicia Smith is starting to come into her own, I think. She had a big weekend for us. She's a very skilled player, and she honestly doesn't know how good she is, and we need her to be an impact player. And she did step up this weekend. She set up she scored the first goal in Appalachian. She assisted the first goal of Davidson, and we need her to keep playing and scoring for us because she is a very skilled player. So that's huge.
You mentioned Tamia Roach being consistent as your primary striker on the penalty corners. What kind of consistency are you looking for? Where in the penalty corner striking did you need to become more consistent?
Well, we had people fouling. Basically, if you undercut the ball has to hit that backboard. Okay, so if you undercut the ball, if it comes up, it's considered dangerous. And we had a lot of inconsistency. We had some good shots, but then we had some fouls. So a foul kills you in a penalty corner because it's a huge advantage. You have your defense outnumbered 2-1, and so you need to execute that shot. Tamia she doesn't really like to hit the ball. She's more likes to sweep the ball, which has a different ball speed. It's a different technique. She actually can do both. So it throws off the defense. She can hit it. And a sweep, however, is a slower it's a slower ball coming in, but it's easier then to get tips on it and off, before it hits the goal, and redirect it before it hits the goalie. So Tamia is very good at both. So she's been invaluable on our penalty corners, and that's what we needed. We needed somebody that was going to be consistent on getting that shot off on goal, on target, and she's been able to do that, and that's really made an impact on our scoring ability in the last 3 games.
Joined by Lock Haven University head field hockey coach Pat Rudy on the LHU Coaches Show from Haywood's on the Green in Mill Hall. And if you're listening on Saturday on the Bear Country Sports Network, you mentioned wins over Appalachian State and Davidson. The Davidson game on the road against a team picked to tie for that 4th spot with your team in the preseason. Top 4 from the Atlantic 10 make the conference tournament. So going in, that's a critical game. Down 2-1 at halftime. How are you able to turn it around for a huge win in the second half?
Well, I told my team, I said, listen, they scored both their goals on corners. I said, we have to match that. I said, they score on corners. When we get a corner, we have to score. We have to be able to match that. And I said, and we need to keep the pressure on them. We had a great press, The second half, we really frustrated. We came out strong. We got the tying goal pretty soon in that second half. I told them that at halftime. I said, we started strong. I said, but we lost momentum. I said, they just scored on a couple corners. I said, we have to earn corners. And then when we earn corners, we have to execute corners. And then when we execute the corners, we need to finish on the corners. And that's pretty much exactly what we did. We had a great press. And they really struggled with our press in the second half. They barely, I'd say for the first 25 minutes, they barely crossed the 50-yard line. So we were pounding them. We were playing in our half of the field, and we were really coming at them. So the team really stepped up. We outshot that team 10-1 in the second half and took it to them. So I think it's just that extra effort, the intensity, the belief that we could come back and do it, and we got the momentum. Like, they were struggling. They really were struggling. And then we played smart hockey in the last 10 minutes and kept it in our half. We did not they didn't get one shot on goal. So I told our defense, we can't give up corners, because honestly, Davidson was good on their corners. They were using some nice options. And like we did not practice Saturday because of the hurricane. We had torrential downpour on Saturday, so we didn't get to really prepare for Davidson as much as I wanted to. So it was kind of like at halftime I told them what we needed to do, and they went out, followed the game plan, and did it. And our press we smothered them. They were frustrated. So I was really proud of the team, the way they came out the second half.
Did you deliver the message as pleasantly as you just gave it to me?
No.
Joined by Lock Haven University head field hockey coach Pat Rudy on the LHU Coaches Show. Atlantic 10 playoffs are just a few weeks away. You have 2 key Atlantic 10 games left, including one this weekend. How do you feel about where you're positioned in the mix right now in the Atlantic 10?
Well, I mean, to be honest, we have our backs against the wall. We have the 2 top teams left. So I have, faith in my team. I trust my team. I believe in my team. I really think that they can take these 2 teams, but they have to play their very best, and they have to be determined. They have to play as a team, and it's brutal. I know everyone who played on this team last year wants to pay back St. Joe's, because we lost to them in double overtime last year, and we all knew, everyone who left that field knew we outplayed them and had the better team. So now we have them at home, and this is payback time, and I know they're going to be up for it. But, we lost some games we shouldn't, so now we have to win and beat the top teams, and we've put ourselves in that position. But in saying that, we beat Richmond. Yeah, it's a top team, so we can and they beat UMass. So, anything can happen now. We either play ourselves into the tournament or out of the tournament, and the pressure's on.
And we'll see how that all unfolds.
Yeah.
In fact, we will be there on Sunday on the Bear Country Sports Network, Lock Haven and St. Joseph's. Noon start, 11:45 pregame for that matchup.
Yes.
Our one for fun for Pat Rudy. And this is such a tough question to ask when you're right in the heart of the playoff race in the season.
Yeah.
But outside of the season, when you're not actually working, how much field hockey do you watch?
Oh, I love field hockey. Like, I have tons of CDs, of DVDs of field hockey. I start recruiting as soon as the season's over. I'm at the festival. I watch FIH videos all the time. Like, I am a field hockey fanatic. Love the game. Love watching it. Love watching it at its highest level, FIH. Absolutely in love with the game.
Well, we hope you get to spend as much time as possible with your team still in season. Lock Haven University head field hockey coach Pat Rudy, thank you for the time, and good luck in both of your games Friday for those of you here at Haywood's on this Tuesday night, and also for everyone on Sunday against St. Joe's at noon at Charlotte E. Smith Field.
Thank you.
that'll do it for this week's edition of the Lock Haven University Coaches Show. Thanks to Pat Rudy and David Taynor. Again, for those of you listening on the Bear Country Sports Network, coming up next, it is the pregame. Lock Haven University football hosting Millersville. Nate Carpenter and I will be on the call preceding a 2 p.m. kickoff. For those of you at Haywood's on the Green, thanks for coming out on this Tuesday night. That'll wrap it up for our entire Bear Country Sports Network crew. I'm Jonathan Schwab, and this has been the Lock Haven University Coaches Show.